Welcome to week 2 of the 12-week course. My name's Craig Bell. I am your instructor, and hopefully you have watched the other videos, and hopefully you're reading the comments that I'm putting on your work. I've gone through most of the first round of discussion posts. That would be for A Rose for Emily and your other choice, and then also for the 2 stories about death. And I know what a way to start the semester. However, a couple of themes that I found, and I'm going to talk about how to work with these a little bit more, or to do better, or to, I don't know, maybe better is not the right word. Anyway, how to write more academically about literature. So since this is a writing class, and since this is a writing class dealing with literature, and since we're reading a lot of stories, or you will be reading a lot of stories, and so we've read 1, 2, 3, 4, and then for this next post is due on Wednesday, 5 and 6, and then a 7th for the one that's due Friday. So a lot of literature. I happen to like the literature reading. I'm with most of you, or many of you, I should say. A Rose for Emily is not like something that I love. It's not a story that I adore, but I consider it an important genre, important like era of writing especially for here in the States. However, Faulkner is an important writer. We need to have some sort of exposure to him. We do. Let's move on. What I really want to talk about now, though, is the writing. The majority of you, overwhelmingly, have fine writing voices. Like your tone, your flow, the language you're using seems to be just fine. Where we're struggling, though, and I've tried to, and this week I was very, very tolerant with regards to depth and range and support and those things, which are all items I'm going to talk about today, because that leniency, like you need to be writing at a college level for this particular course. And what I'm going to talk about today are things, and many of you said that things that you wanted to learn are absolutely transferable to any discipline you write in. All right, so let's get ahead first. Let's start. Let's go. If you haven't picked up already, I kind of do these impromptu. I have an agenda, but I am not an actor, and I'm not a video producer. So, that being said, depth. Many of you are not writing enough. So, the assignments, for example, and this is the second post for this week where you read either A Rose for Emily, Cathedral, or A Good Man is Hard to Find. A couple are writing like fine paragraphs about the plot, but when you start writing the paragraphs about how characters are changing and shifting, I want like paragraphs. They need to be not like, I know it's a discussion, and I know it's a discussion post, but it shouldn't be a text. It's like, and not that the voice and tone is like a text, but the depth or the volume for some of them has been very short, very skipping the rock on the surface of the assignment. You're checking boxes. Okay, I get it. But the boxes need to be checked and kind of wallowed in a little bit. You need to spend some time discussing things. So, for example, on this post where it's asking for you to write about how protagonists were adjusted or changed or adapted to the plot, that needs time. Like, you need to introduce your character, talk about the moments in the plot where these things happen. You need to be specific. I need to see what's going on in your mind with regards to how you're seeing these characters change. As we're moving forward this week, I've actually added commentary or parts to the assignment that like you need to have support from the text. So if you make a claim about the things they carried, or if you make a claim about everyday use, whatever story you're making a claim, those are for this week. Whatever story you're making a claim for, you need to bring in language from the text, quotes, that support that claim you've made. Many of you in Rose for Emily or Cathedral or Good Man is Hard to Find, you have the moment, you talk about it, you refer to it, you allude to it, but you need to show how the writer is doing something. So bring in how O'Connor, you should have brought in like how O'Connor made the grandma build the tension with the misfit. When she reaches out and touches him and he just whips around like a snake and kills her in the end. Like, show those moments. The moment when they have the crash, the moment when they see the misfit, the moment when she says, "Oh, I know you." It's like, no, you've just sealed your fate and your whole family's fate through all of this. Although she kind of did the whole time. Anyway, that's something you need to show from the text. So as you're moving into the discussions for this week, read the text, but you need to like mark and have your your proof. And this comment I'm making, like this request, demand, or expectation that I'm setting, this is for any discipline. If you're writing for chemistry, if you're writing for history, if you're writing for psychology, if you're writing for engineering, whatever you're writing for in an academic world, you must back up what you're suggesting with those pieces of support. So if you go to like 1101, when I teach 1101, I do it with a very rhetorically grounded space. And to build credibility, you have to have three things. One or all of three things. As many of the three ways to create credibility as you can have. One of them is experience. If you did the thing, like if you've been somewhere, done something, and you have the experience that you need, having done something, that's a way to build credibility. Knowledge. If you've studied it, if you're an expert in this discipline because you spent years studying this discipline or whatever it is, that's a way that you can build credibility. The third way to build credibility, and this is kind of touches on what I'm getting on here, is utilizing support from others. Finding other... My dog is in here with me. Hey, dude. He's kicking my computer. However, finding the credibility, finding people who are credible sources and utilizing them. In this instance, in this case, who is that? Those are the authors, the people who are writing the stories. So if you're suggesting, hey, I believe that O'Connor creates that moment of epiphany where the grandmother sees the misfit and speaks without thinking, that's the time where she seals their fate. When she writes, and then you give the language from the text, that's what you need to be doing. That's perfect. And as we're moving forward in this week, that's my expectation. So as I'm reading so I'll wait until till you submit them and they're due. And I'll talk about that here in a second. But then when I start grading them, Wednesday evening, Thursday, Friday, my expectation is that those have support in them, they have quotes in them. When it's asking for multiple sections, like a paragraph, and there's no, like, it needs to have this many sentences or this many words or anything like that, nah. But I would say that in these contexts and the things that we're asking you to do, 150 to 200 words for a paragraph, that seems to be a reasonable expectation to include, with the support and everything like that, but sure. Now, you don't need to be counting your words by any stretch of the imagination, but you need to be saying and conveying the things fully. So the items on the assignments are things you should be doing, but you should be doing them with depth. And you should be doing them to where when I read them, I'm like, you get it. This student gets it. Not, I rated this one 4 out of 5. I recommend it. Why? Why do you recommend it? What is it about it that made it good, that made it work for you? And then when I start writing about themes or plots or characters, I am absolutely showing how this is the case. Why the text that makes me think that. Okay. Next, I highly recommend that each of you write your original type your original posts. So as you're doing your homework, do it on a Word doc. Do it on a Google Doc. That's going to help you with the spelling and capitalizations. It does ask for you to be grammatically correct. At the top of the assignment, it says, hey, you need to... I'm looking at the one metamorph. I'm looking at this one on the assignment here. Read the assignment stories. Do not do any research. These questions instead think about the stories in your experience. You can't be wrong here. You can't be wrong here unless you're not backing up what you're doing. Write a response and incorporate your answers into questions. Blow it into multiple paragraphs. So multiple paragraphs here. Yes. And it must be on the other one. I'll add it to here. You should be grammatically correct on these. Like I need to have like here, like for example, here where it says metamorphosis and sweat and the things they carried. These, they're quotation marks. That's what you put titles of short stories in, quotation marks. I can use italics for sure, but not both. So you are writing properly. You are using the proper capitalization in titles. You are doing the right punctuation when you're incorporating quotes into the text. So those are things that need to be happening in your paragraphs as well. I recommend writing them in a Word doc. This is what I did all through my UCF graduate work many years ago when I was working on Canvas and doing discussion posts. I typed everything on Word docs. It helped check my grammar. It helped check my spelling. It let me see my document, and then I was copy and paste it into a discussion, and then it was fine. And then I just saved it in a folder or file in that particular class so that I had a record of it if some sort of technology glitch happened in Canvas or what have you. So I had proof of what I had done, and here's when I did it, how I did it. So I found that to be very beneficial too. So please make sure we're doing that. Next. When you're replying to your peers, that needs to be in-depth, thoughtful. You guys are doing a great job of being kind and being supportive, but I need for you to be more specific on something they're doing. And oftentimes this really helps where it says, when creating the two peer responses, please give enough detail in your response that is impaired to whom you are responding to, and you've understood their initial responses. So that lets me know that when I'm looking through the post and I'm looking through your assignments, it lets me know who that is. But it also, I want you to make sure that you're being specific enough to them to where you're trying to give them feedback. Like, yes, feedback. Speaking of feedback, those of you who are posting early, so tonight, Monday, Tuesday, for the assignment that's due Wednesday, I will be skimming through those. So if I see a gap or if I see something that's like, oh my gosh, so-and-so doesn't, you don't have any support in here, I might put another, like, this is really good, but you might want to add some support. That is me trying to give you the hint that you need to revisit that and adjust it and adapt so that when it comes time for grading it, when I do the grading, once it's the due date's met, because you may adjust. I'm not going to grade it on Tuesday if it's not due till Wednesday, because you might have something you think of. Oh, I want to add that in there. I don't want to have to grade it twice, and I don't want you to have the stress there. But I will give you feedback that way. It won't be extensive, but it will be something, a hint or suggestion that you might want to do this. I did this on multiple this past week and did not see a great response to those revisiting them. So please engage in that, trying to help you guys out. And if you are struggling with due dates, in the getting to know you post, several of you have full-time jobs, some of you have part-time jobs, but you have kids and you have if you're struggling with a due date, a message to me, hey, I'm working on this, it's going to be in tomorrow. It's going to be I'm happy to talk to and look to accommodate on due dates. I like to keep due dates and I like to have them because that keeps me on task. It keeps me going, and it keeps you guys going to where you're not getting behind and you're not building up too much work to do at one time. But if you're struggling or you don't understand an assignment or you don't understand my comments, send me a note. I'm happy to either meet with you via like a virtual meetings, or if you want a phone call, or if you want just texting or messaging. I'm fine with any of that to help you to be clear with anything that you need. So in the end, what do we want to leave with? You need support. You can't write these without support. You need to make sure you do the reading well. Make sure you read the entire assignment. So for example, this particular assignment, to where you have read. Step 3, rate each one of these. Write a response that incorporates your answers to the questions below into multiple paragraphs. 150, 200 words. Like, you need to be writing about these things. Identify and compare setting in each of these 2 stories. Immense. Explain words, actions, characters, traits led you to determine the setting. That means you need to have the quotes that support this. Identify and compare the tone in each of the 2 stories. What's the vibe? What's the feeling? How do you know that? Because they are very, very different, all 3 of these. And I like all 3 of these, actually. All 3 of these stories are fantastic. Metamorphosis, absolutely longer. If you're looking for a crunch in time, The Things They Carried and Sweat are the absolute 2 to choose here. But Kafka is pretty awesome. So anyway, and then the responses to your peers. And the earlier you get these done, the more you can respond to your peers. You guys know the routine. Anyhow, I'm done rambling. I hope this helps. And hope you watch it. And again, if you need help, you just need to ask. Happy to do it, but you need to ask early and send me the note, and I'll be happy to work with you. Okay? Great. Enjoy your reading. I'm looking forward to the writing. I'm enjoying the writing so far. And I'll talk to you soon. See ya.